Hey there, imagine winning a brand new car, a beach house, or even $1 million, all from buying a McDonald's burger. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, over a decade, that dream was dangled in front of millions of Americans, thanks to the wildly popular McDonald's Monopoly game. But what if I told you the whole thing was rigged? This isn't a conspiracy theory or an exaggeration. From 1989 to 2001, McDonald's Monopoly game was quietly hijacked by one man, who turned it into his own personal cash printer, raking in over $24 million in stolen prizes. And the worst part, he did it without touching a single burger. In this video, we're diving deep into how a single person corrupted a billion-dollar brand, fooled the public, and created one of the most audacious frauds in corporate promotion history. Let's get into it. So first off, what is McDonald's Monopoly? For those unfamiliar, this was a promotional sweepstakes launched in 1987, where customers would collect game pieces on food packaging that mimicked the Monopoly board game. If you collected a full property set, say Boardwalk and Park Place, you could win anything from free fries to $1 million cash prize. It was a marketing goldmine. People would dig through trash cans, raid unused cups, and buy way more food just for a chance to win. Sales skyrocketed every time the game launched. But behind this fun and frenzy was one man who cracked the system from the inside. Jerome Jacobson, the director of security for the company, hired to oversee the game's integrity. And no, that's not a joke. The guy responsible for protecting the game from fraud was the one who rigged it. Jacobson worked for a company called Simon Marketing, which McDonald's had hired to manage the Monopoly promotion. His job? Make sure high-value game pieces like the $1 million ones were randomly and securely distributed to McDonald's restaurants. To prevent tampering, the winning pieces were printed at a secure facility, sealed in tamper-proof envelopes, and transported under lock and key. But Jacobson found a loophole. Instead of sealing and distributing the winning pieces according to protocol, he began stealing them before they ever left the facility. And here's the twist. He didn't redeem them himself. That would have raised too many red flags. Instead, he gave them to friends, family, and even strangers, who would claim the prizes and then split the money with him. This way, the fraud spread across the country with no obvious pattern. Between 1995 and 2001, not a single top prize in the Monopoly game was legitimately won by chance. Every single one was part of Jerome Jacobson's inside job. Well, according to FBI records and court documents, Jacobson's operation fraudulently claimed over $24 million in cash and prizes. That included multiple $1 million prizes, luxury cars, vacations, and more. And remember, this wasn't just a couple of lucky breaks. This was organized fraud. Jacobson created a network of winners across the US, often using middlemen to distribute tickets and collect shares of the winnings. Some of these middlemen even ran ads in local newspapers to recruit fake winners. Now, here's where it gets even more financial. Jacobson and his recruits often set up shell companies and fake business ventures to make the winnings look legitimate. Prize winners were required to fill out detailed IRS forms and often had to accept prize money as annuities paid over 20 years, making the fraud more complex but also harder to track. Many of the winners had to pay Jacobson up to $100,000 up front just to get a winning piece, before ever seeing a dime from McDonald's. That's right, he was selling fraud access like a black market investment deal. Now, you're probably wondering, how on earth did this go on for over a decade without getting caught? Well, part of it was dumb luck, but most of it came down to oversight failure. McDonald's relied on Simon Marketing to secure the game and didn't have a second line of internal audit. Plus, many winners appeared to be random people in different states, just what you'd expect from a fair game. but it wasn't fair. Things started unraveling when the FBI received an anonymous tip in 2000. Someone called them and said, "The McDonald's Monopoly game is rigged." At first, it sounded ridiculous, but then the FBI started digging. They launched Operation Final Answer, a sting operation that quietly followed Jacobson's associates, tapped phones, and surveilled the prize winners. What they found shocked them. They traced multiple prize claims to a web of people who had no real connection to McDonald's, but all had one person in common: Uncle Jerry, aka Jerome Jacobson. The operation went full public in August 2001, when federal agents arrested over 50 people connected to the scam. The story broke wide open with a front-page headline in the New York Times, and McDonald's was forced to admit the truth. Jacobson was eventually sentenced in 2003 to 37 months in federal prison and ordered to pay $12.5 million in restitution. Most of his collaborators received reduced sentences or probation for cooperating with investigators. As for the stolen money, a large chunk of it was never recovered, and the reputation damage to McDonald's, that might have cost them even more. So what were the financial consequences? First off, McDonald's had to completely suspend the Monopoly game in 2001. That was a massive blow, considering it was one of their most profitable promotions. Consumer trust dropped. Shareholders were furious. McDonald's stock didn't crash, but it did stagnate during a critical period when fast food competitors were innovating and expanding. They eventually rebooted the Monopoly game, but with much tighter controls. They added independent audits, digital tracking, and split distribution responsibilities to prevent another insider scam. But the lesson here isn't just about fast food. It's about the cost of corporate complacency. When billion-dollar brands outsource critical systems without real oversight, they open themselves up to massive fraud. McDonald's trusted a third-party security head with millions in prizes and paid the price. This wasn't just a criminal story, it's a case study in risk management failure. Now, let's zoom out. Why does this story matter to you, especially if you're into finance? Because it shows how internal fraud can undermine even the most trusted systems. In fact, according to the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, companies lose an average of 5% of revenue to internal fraud every year. And more often than not, the culprit isn't a hacker in a hoodie, it's someone on the inside, with just enough access to bend the rules. Jacobson didn't hack McDonald's servers or crack some code. He just quietly removed a sticker from an envelope and knew exactly where it would go. That's the danger. Sometimes the biggest financial risks aren't out there, they're sitting at your own desk. This case also highlights how even small security lapses in seemingly harmless parts of a business, like a marketing campaign, can lead to multi-million-dollar losses. It's why due diligence, audits, and internal checks aren't just annoying bureaucracy, they're financial lifelines. So the next time you hear about a company losing millions in fraud, or a giant brand running a too-good-to-be-true giveaway, remember this. One man with a sticker rigged a national game and made off with $24 million, all because no one thought the guy in charge of security would ever be the problem. And that's why, whether you're investing, running a business, or just analyzing financial news, always watch the incentives. And more importantly, watch the gatekeepers. If you found this story shocking, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, which financial fraud should I break down next?